Happy Arvo. Hello. Thank you so much for joining me today. How are you? So in my This Week in Australia video last week, which was on Anzac Day, someone left a comment that was like the top comment. Here, actually, I'll go for it. Okay, here it is from Diane Collins. Hi, Ryan. Wonderful that you acknowledge the sacrifice of Australian and New Zealand armed services in many theaters of war. Please also remember the sacrifice of the Australian Army Nursing Corps during World War II. Our family is very proud of our parents' service. Great you highlighted Anzac Day. So I was just like, oh, that's interesting. What is that? So I just wanted to learn a bit about this. Established in 1903, the Royal Australian Army Nursing Corps. Oh, I see. In 1951, it turned to the Royal Australian Nursing Corps. Before that, it was the Royal Australian Army Nursing Service. So right after World War II, which the AANS was an Australian Army Reserve unit which provided a pool of trained civilian nurses who had volunteered for military service during wartime. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. I think that's really cool. And I wanted to highlight that and learn about it since I'd never heard of that before. There's actually really not that much information about it online. Maybe it's because it's kind of straightforward. It's a corps of Army nurses, which is pretty badass. Let's see. This is a little video about it. I guess it's got 100 views. So go check out this channel. I was only doing my job podcast. Link down below. Let's see what he has to say about it.
When the Australian Army Nursing Service was first established on the 1st of July 1903, it was designed to create a ready pool of nurses that the Army could call on in times of national crisis. The first time it was mobilised en masse was for the First World War, with over 2,100 nurses eventually serving in the Great War as an auxiliary unit to the Australian Imperial Force. Now, while nurses were given officer ranks...
Wow, these photos are pretty incredible. I want to take a closer look at those.
...was purely honorary and actually held only weight if the male officers they served alongside allowed them to. It basically existed to create a distinction between the nurses and the men they were expected to treat to prevent fraternisation. Now, despite this, Australian nurses served in every theatre the Australian Imperial Force served in, working in Australian general hospitals, casualty clearing stations, hospital trains and hospital ships in Middle East and Western Front and in England. They also served in British hospitals in Salonika in Greece, India and in Britain as well. 388 would be decorated and 25 would die as a result of their service.
Wow.
Now, they would answer the nation's
Rest in peace to those women.
call once again during the Second World War, with over 5,000 nurses signing up to serve in the Middle East, the Mediterranean, Britain, Asia, the Pacific, and back home in Australia. Though still considered an auxiliary unit of the Australian Imperial Force, they were essentially treated the same way their foremothers were in the previous war, but were given greater recognition and restrictions. 78 would die as a result of their service. In July...
Jeez, 78, oh my gosh. I mean, obviously it's bad enough when a soldier dies in service. But for a nurse to die, that's pretty tragic.
1947, the Australian Army Nursing Service was transferred to the Interim Army and was finally accepted as a properly recognised part of the Australian military in July 1949, 46 years almost to the day of their establishment.
Wow. So there they are in 1940 in Brisbane. Badasses. So I'm curious right now how many women are currently in this corps. Group portrait of 5 officers at the Royal Australian Army Nursing Corps. I love the uniforms. There's something so cool about the crossover between like military influence, nursing, healthcare influence, and then the high heels. Pretty epic. Oh damn, look at this. That was so loud. Oh my god. But look at the badge. That's sick. It's 2024, Anzac Day. That's awesome. Members of the RAANC celebrate the 21st birthday of Colleen. Happy birthday, Colleen. Man, I feel like people grew up faster back in these days. Maybe it's just the way they dressed. They just look very mature. 21? Somehow 21-year-olds these days, and I'm not saying this like in a negative way, because I feel like the same way about myself, but they still seem almost like kids. Maybe that just means I'm old now. It's a little article from 1953. Lieutenant Pat Mickisock of South Perth, who has been adjutant of 11 Company Royal Australian Army Nursing Corps Western Command for the past 21 years, will leave on Monday next to go to Japan. Wow, post-World War II Japan. Interesting. She expects to return to nursing duties at the British Commonwealth General Hospital at Kerr and is looking forward to her new work. Lieutenant Mickisock trained at the Royal Perth Hospital, and this will be her first appointment overseas. The hospital is staffed by British, Canadian, and Australian nurses. Shout out to Pat Mickisock. Well, oh wow, Hiroshima. It's 1953. That was very interesting. I mean, this is a very short video, but I just wanted to learn about that because you guys commented that, and I thought it was worth looking into and recognizing, of course, their service. So thank you to their service and for any current members of the Royal Australian Army Nursing Corps. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.